right, what's up, guys? Welcome back. Been a little bit here, but wanted to do a quick one real quick for you. And you're probably wondering, where is this guy's Phillies hat? But I'm not a Phillies fan. Even though I'm a huge Eagles fan, I grew up a football fan first. Football is number one for me. It's like way higher than all other sports in all importance to me. And the passion and the level of interest I have in it is just totally greater. Like, I feel like an actual part of those teams. I feel like just a spectator of baseball teams, right? But I live in central PA, not really Philadelphia. I live like maybe an hour or two outside of Philadelphia. And growing up there and then moving to Florida halfway through, the baseball teams that I watched the most of growing up were the Orioles and Marlins. However, the Ravens as a football team didn't exist. So is it possible that I could have, in another lifetime where the Colts never moved out of Baltimore or the Ravens existed earlier in my life, became a Ravens fan? Maybe possible, because they would have been closer to me, but still a Pennsylvanian, and I bleed Eagles green. I think I'm like one of the biggest Eagles fans you probably know. So yeah, it's just a totally different vibe to me. So I'm going to rock the Orioles hat, support the Orioles, who are doing well right now. Expect them to hopefully make a push to win the division. But that's enough sports talk, kind of. Wanted to talk to you about eBay and a policy that they have. Well, now, I've always had this policy myself, but when it comes to returns and shipping, I always recommend that you have free shipping and free open returns for any reason under the sun, always available, because if you do that and you ship things on time and you don't screw people over and you don't get a lot of returns for reasons that are your fault, you're going to become a top-rated seller. And when you're a top-rated seller, you can basically adjust the return amount when somebody rips you off or returns something not in a condition that you sent it. You can like take 50% of the return away from them, the refund, that is. And that is like a lot of power to give somebody whenever you know that these returns can be manipulated sometimes. But there is a loophole, something that I really wasn't paying or looking for to happen, and it happened to me, and I just think it's a terrible loophole in the system, and it should never be allowed. And that's whenever somebody, when I sold something via auction, right? And whenever somebody sells something via auction, one of the reasons that when you bid on something in an auction, you are like entering a contract to pay that price for the item. You're on the hook for the item. I really wish eBay would just force those sales, but sometimes people bid and then they don't pay, right? Well, what's worse is a guy recently bid a Patrick Mahomes 31 card lot. They were all base cards. I didn't expect them to go as high as they went, but he bid $120 on this lot. Now, I expected this lot to go somewhere between $30 and $50, but he bid $120 on it. There was nothing misleading about it. He didn't even use that he was misled. He didn't think he was misled. Like, he doesn't believe that at all. But when he got the items, he kept them a week or so and decided that they just weren't worth $120, which I thought was the case all along, but he said he was going to pay that for them. That's what he wanted to pay to beat the previous guy. So now he wants to return the item, and of course I open free and open returns, and he puts in his reasoning that he just didn't like the price that he decided to pay. And that should never be a reason that is allowed for a return when it comes to eBay. So now I'm getting screwed out of this money, and actually I had to refund the guy because he sent the items back. They were all in good condition. There was nothing really that I could dock him for, but obviously, I'm not going to make $120, and I didn't the next time that I auctioned them off. I made like $40. So I lost $80, and there was another bidder that bid those up into the $80, $90 range that he was trying to beat, that I could have sold those cards to if I knew this guy was going to get them and say that he didn't want them for that price. People pay weird prices for stuff all the time, and I just think that when it comes to auctions, people shouldn't be allowed to return items for the reasoning of they didn't like the price they bid, because that basically ruins auctions altogether. That basically means I can go out there and recklessly bid on anything I want to, and I can get bailed out by eBay's return policy if I decide it's not worth anything. And not only that, that means I can win an auction on something and then return it if it loses value. And this is very dangerous to the card collecting world, in my opinion. It's something that eBay needs to look into and address, because I offer free and open returns for the people that mostly for buy it now items, right? And I already have the set price there. I'm the one that told them what the price was. I will accept an offer on those items, but if the person gets it and like the shoes didn't fit them, I'm running a business where you can return that to me, right? And I'm not going to get mad at you. But when you bid, cost me to ship the item to you and back, and your reasoning is that you just didn't like the price you paid, you should have told me that up front, because there was nothing misleading about my cards. There were there was pictures of all of them. You knew exactly what you were getting. So like, did you just like not know anything about cards, and then you went ahead and bid on these, and then you took them to a friend and they were like, oh, these aren't worth anything? Well, I ought to honestly save this guy's name and share it and say, like, block this guy because he's a pain. But maybe he'll bid one of your things up and return it. And I think if he keeps returning things for that reason, it'll stand out like a red flag. He ended up, you know, not really being too mad about it, but it's just ridiculous to me that I'm out the shipping there and the shipping back. And of course, I sold them cheaper than I could have sold them to that second bidder that he outbid that day. And so I just lose, right? And that's just a loophole in the policy. And I understand that you're saying like, oh, well, you know, when you have open returns on, you're just opening up the door for people to manipulate and abuse you. Well, in my experience, they haven't been, right? I thought that was going to be the case, but they really haven't been. And in the cases where they have, when I've reached top rated seller, I'm able to control that and just be like, all right, well, you're not getting as much money back, and then I'll resell the item anyways. So I like that, and I like running the business that way. I think that's the right way to run the business, since everybody has turned into an entitled shopper anyways because of Amazon. This is the world we live in. Give it to them the way they want it, and, you know, become top rated and adjust the sales. But when it comes to auctions, be very, very careful, because the auction price it sells for, somebody could just turn around and return it and say, I didn't like that price, I didn't like what I got, and now it wasted my time, and it wasted me probably 50 plus, you know, $5-10 there in and out. So 60, 70 bucks, I don't know, 80 bucks, somewhere in that range. Just something, you know, it's a cost of doing business, yeah, but nobody likes losing $80. And I thought I'd bring it to your attention. Thought I'd give you a story about me taking an L on an eBay sale, right? I mean, I took an L by having a free and open return policy, and it cost me 80 bucks. So hopefully this video was helpful to you. You know now to kind of pay attention to auctions and know that you can get those returned and maybe turn returns off on those individual auctions. You won't be able to adjust the refund amount if they are returned, but the likelihood that they are returned for a stupid reason like I didn't like the price is like slim to none. The person will have to make up item not as described, and in that case you'll probably be able to defeat them and go from there. But if you like videos like this and you want to see more helpful content about selling on eBay and dealing with their stupid policies and these awful customers, then go ahead and subscribe to my page. I also talk about Amazon selling, where the customers are just as bad and the company is just as ridiculous when it comes to supporting their sellers. So I try to put the stuff out there that helps you get through that battlefield of just everybody trying to stop you from being successful in business. And it's really just a hump you're going to get over, and whenever you kind of figure these things out, you'll be good to go, and don't let them scare you away from selling online. So if you'd like to see more stuff like that, go ahead and subscribe to the page, like this video, comment the most ridiculous thing that's ever happened to you on an eBay sale, but in the meantime, keep on flipping.